Hello, Facebook family. 7:01, September 20th, 2023. Facebook Live. Elevate. Why we pick who we pick. The title's called Why We Pick Who We Pick. We got a couple people on. It's good to see you guys on. Let me see who we have. So Mother Brenda's on. Great to see you, Mother Brenda. All right. Please be safe while you're driving home. We're going to tackle this topic. And this is a fun topic for me just because we're talking about hiring and who do we pick when we're hiring people. And like I always say, Ann is on. Great to see you. Making sure you guys, we're doing we're checking for life up there in Aggie Land. Is everything okay? Ann, just want to make sure everything's okay in Aggie Land. I hear there's some grumblings going on up there. A little rough time in the football program. Just checking on you, Ann. So anyway, today is episode 107. Why we pick who we pick. That's what we'll be talking about today. She said, I didn't mean to say, babe. Your mom said, hello there. I'm driving home, babe. But I already knew.
Who she thought she was talking to?
Look at your daughter trying to start something. Tamika's here. Good to see you, Tamika. WSJ says we're number one. Well, WSJ is the Wall Street Journal, right? Or is that something else? I don't think the Wall Street Journal says y'all number one. Shay is on. Good to see. Andre's in Denver. You know, phone call from who?
Shay.
Shay. Shar is saying she needs a phone call. So anyway, so why we pick who we pick. And I'm going to need a verification of that article, Ann. Appreciate it if you can. You got my email address. I'm going to need a verification of that article. So anyway, I want to tell y'all the story, but I want to give a little time for people to come on. It's been one of those days. I think I stepped in the door 10 minutes ago, 12 minutes ago. So she said, I got it. I appreciate it. So, you know, we do these presentations and I really always tell you guys, this helps me a lot because it just keeps things in perspective. You know, it's I can't remember where I read it, but it said it's better to read 10 good books and read them over and over again than it is to read 100 books. So, and it's just because it's about the practice. It's about the execution. It's about actually doing the stuff. So when you have to get in front of this mic and this camera and you do this, it really helps you in the other parts of your life, trying to make sure you accomplish this stuff. It keeps you in front of mind. And I know I completed a higher percentage rate than I normally would if I wasn't doing this. So my Aunt Stephanie's on. Good to see you, Aunt Stephanie. But the topic tonight is why we pick who we pick. And I've used this approach for years. I've never, I've told people the story. I've never done a Facebook Live on it. And I said, man, this would be a good time because right now I'm in the middle of hiring a lot of people right now. And I'm using this approach because I've used it for years, for decades. And it comes from a Hebrew story. So I wanted to share that with you guys. This is episode 107, why we pick who we pick. So Shar, how you doing? Char's over here trying to do a little work too, besides the Elevate work, besides the cupcake work, besides the company work that she works for. Um, I don't know how to say this without sounding mean, but when I go to heaven, I don't want to be around any lazy people. I don't know if I can tell Jesus that when I get in the gate, say, put me away from the lazy people. Are there lazy people in heaven? I don't even know. Maybe once they get the blood is out and you're running off the spirit, maybe there's no lazy people. So, but my parents are on. Good to see you. Good to see you on. But the topic today is why we pick who we pick. And I wanted to share this with you because it's, I feel like it can get twisted. Well, I know things can get twisted fairly easy when it comes to this topic. So before we get into it, I want to talk about Elevate. Elevate is an acronym: expectations, leadership, ethics, vision, attitude, temperament, and effectiveness. Our job is to make sure that we make it quicker for you to become a great leader. Of course, I always tell people this, and this might not be the thing you want to hear. I can give you the 10%. I can give you the foundation, but you got to give me the 90. I'm not one of those guys that when somebody's ineffective, I say, well, maybe it was the training. No, it ain't the training. The training makes it faster. If the person wants it, they'll get it. There's so much information out there nowadays. If you want it, you'll get it. So whenever I hear that, there's just an excuse to let people off the hook for being responsible for their own development. So at the end of the day, I tell you, I can give you the 10%, and I'll be honorable. I'll do it with integrity. I will give you everything I know. I will share examples. I'll give you exercises, whatever it takes to get you there, and I'll do it with the right heart. But at the end of the day, you got to give me the 90. You give me the 90, oh, we're going to win. So what we're talking about here is Char's been what? Business analyst for 10 plus years. You see how I just changed that 10 plus? That way I can get over if it's 11 or 12. I don't even know. She's been a program manager for 10 plus years. She's ran her cupcake business for 10 plus years. I've been in the leadership business for 30 plus years. And you learn a lot in those 30 years. And I've been in different areas of leadership. I've been in the business world. I've also done some nonprofit stuff in leadership role too. And I've been tried and I've been true. I've learned a lot of stuff, and I try to share that on this broadcast. And I hope that other people will benefit from it and understand and maybe purchase our services so that we can share, and it'll be a win-win for everybody. But our customer, and we talked about this at breakfast the other day, our customer is a person who was working or is working and is doing a great job as an individual and got promoted. They were doing a great job as an individual and they got promoted to be over, some people. And they just never have been in a leadership position. And they want to learn about leadership. They want to learn how to be an effective leader. They want to learn how to shape perspectives and give hope, which is the job of a leader. That's who we talk to. So anyway, it is what? It is 7:09. So what I wanted to share was this story. There's an old Jewish story about a guy who was asked by God to be a warrior. He said, hey, the people were complaining, things weren't happening right. The reason things weren't happening right because the people weren't listening to God. God said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take these other people and you're going to get beat down by these other people until you guys cry out for help. Well, the people did. They cried out for help. Just like we do, they blamed somebody else for their failings. But at the end of the day, this guy that that was a warrior, that was groomed or picked to be the warrior, was a very fearful guy. But at the end of the day, he was faithful, and he was chosen to lead in a battle. And when he led this battle, and all this is tied into who we pick, why we pick. So when he was chosen for this battle, there was different things he had to do to get to the number of men that God wanted him to get to. And I use this approach whenever I pick guys in leadership positions or people, because you can't really do it when people are just off the application. You got to work with them a little while. And then you say, you know what, this is somebody I would love to work with in leadership. But you look for certain things. And that's what we're going to share today. Why we pick who we pick. Episode 107. Chime in, guys. Put a 1 if you're awake. It's 7:10. I want to get into the meat of this. You know, this is the fastest 30 minutes in social media. And I hope that you guys that are in nonprofits, I hope that you guys that are, thank you, Ann. I hope that you guys, thank you, Mother Brenda. Thank you, Tamika. I hope you guys that are in companies, whatever it is, I hope you take these points to heart, because I really believe in these. I've been using these for decades now. Thank you. And the story I'm talking about is Gideon. So in the Old Testament, and I know we got some people that believe and some people that don't believe, but just take the story for heart. The story is about this guy named Gideon. And when he first went into battle, he decided what he needed, right? And when he went into battle, there were some cuts made because the God felt like he had too many people. God was like, listen, I want to get the glory. I don't want these people to think that they did it on their own. So in his cuts, you can learn a lot, about how to pick people. And that's what we're talking about today. So, because I'm paranoid about time and I know I'm gonna get stuck on some of these points and explain them too much, the first point of this is I'm going to kind of give you the backdrop here. So the first round, he had 32,000 people. 32,000 people. And then God tells him, he says, listen, anybody that don't want to be there, let them go home. Anybody. You just don't want to be there. Let them go. So 10,000 people left. He didn't criticize them for leaving. He didn't criticize them for not being a part of this movement. He didn't say, hey, this is major. Why don't you want to be a part of this? No. Anybody didn't want to be there, he let them go. This is a free will thing, right? He said, you can go home. So now you're down to 22,000 people. That was the first cut. If you don't want to be there, you go. The next cut was, and I love this one. This is the one that I love. The next cut was, we have to assume that they were really thirsty and that they were maybe doing some training. It doesn't give us a lot of backdrop in the story, but he says, hey, send all those guys, that 22,000 people, to get some water. And the ones that put the water and cup it in their hands and drink, keep those. The ones that don't, send them back home. We're not going to criticize them for not being aware of this national movement. We're not going to criticize them because they're not on board. We're not going to do all that. I'm going to run with the people that are the right type of people. That's what I'm going to run with. And it went from 22,000 to 300. And you got to picture this. Just picture any area with water, and then you see 22,000 people, and they're walking, picking. Okay, keep that one. Keep that one there. Keep that one. And by the time they counted, it was only 300 people. So the first cut was anybody that didn't want to be there. The second cut was a certain type of person. And the way they judged that person was when they were drinking the water, did they just put their head in the water and just start drinking? Or did they squat down and bring the water to their mouth? And that is important because that's how I pick people. And there's really 6 points in there when you think about this. And the first point I'm going to share is that I'm looking for partners. I'm looking for partners, not employees. So when I'm looking for leaders, I'm looking for partners, not employees. I'm looking for people that says, you know what? I have something to offer to you, and they're expecting something back, right? And that offer is they're willing to share in the responsibility, but they also want to share in the benefits. Can you imagine if you were part of the 32,000? Because remember, these 300 were part of the 32,000. And then you see 10,000 people leave. And then you see 21,700 people leave, and there's only 300 left. That person was like, hey, I want to be a part of this. I'm a partner in this. And there's expectations. There's a certain mentality to that person. So what I look for is I look for partners. The second thing I look for is and this is, I should have put this first because this is the first obvious one. I look for people that want to be there. If you're somebody complaining about being there and how it's too much work and how I don't really like it here, this other place was better and all that kind of stuff, you won't be an employee much longer for me. More than less, we're definitely gonna pick you for leadership. But we want people that want to be there. I feel like I'm doing too much work. You got me doing all the little things that you hear when you're dealing with somebody who don't have the right mentality. I'm telling you, you don't pick them for leadership. You got to move on. Cut your losses early. You want to either keep them and move them into another area and then move somebody else in, but you got to be aggressive because you're going to end up getting bit. And then you're going to end up hating people, and it ain't the people. They were being who they were. We have to make the hard choices. Number 3, I'm looking for people that have confidence in me and confidence in themselves. If I'm sitting up there and I'm part of the 32,000 and I see 10,000 people leave, I have a certain level of confidence, not only in myself, but I have a certain level of confidence in my leader. So I'm looking for people like that. And then if I'm sitting there with 22,000 and I see 21,700 people leave, oh man, I definitely have a certain level of confidence in my leader. And I definitely have a certain level of confidence in myself. So I look for those type of people that possess that. Some people will call that swag. Some people that have that, they have it, that it factor, but that's what these 300 people have. Number 4, I'm looking for people who trust me. There's one thing to have confidence in my ability, but do you really trust me? You can say that guy can get it done, but do you also trust him? Do you trust him with your family? Do you trust him in a relationship? Is this somebody you just trust? So I look for people that trust me. And I take these same principles. I got a couple more points, but I take these same principles when it comes to my inner circle. I have an inner circle of leaders, and it's really 2 guys. And Shar hears me talk about these 2 guys all the time, but it's because I trust them. Because things go sideways really fast when you put somebody in your inner circle that can't be trusted. Number 5, I look for people that have a certain level of discipline. So here we are. You've been training. You're hot. You're thirsty. You're part of 22,000 people that are running to the water. But no, you don't just stick your head in the water and drink. You squat down and bring the water to your face. That is a certain level of discipline. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I would have did it. I'll just be honest with you. I don't think I would have did it. Number 6, and this is kind of on piggyback on that same posture when they went and they put that water to their face to drink. I look for people that have a certain level of awareness. What happens when you put your head down and drink? You can't see anything around you. But if you squat down and bring the water to your face, you're still able to look around. And those people are aware. And I love people that are aware. I listen for signs of awareness. I look for that guy that's doing or gal that's doing one thing and then ask a question that has nothing to do with what they're doing, but they're asking a question about something they're seeing that they don't understand, because that shows me that they're aware. And that is powerful. That is powerful. To me, that's one of the top 3 things you need when you're dealing with a leader. You need a leader that is aware, a leader that pays attention, a leader that's head is on a swivel, that can see more than what's just in front of them. So that's the 6th point. So the first point was really, I'm looking for people who want to be there. I'm looking for partners. I'm looking for people who have confidence in themselves and in me. I'm looking for people who trust me. I'm looking for people that have a certain level of discipline. And I'm looking for people that possess a certain level of awareness. And you aren't contaminating the water as much as with their face in the water. True. True. In my mind, I just picture a bunch of people just, especially when you think about this, it's 300 guys, or at the first time it was 32,000 guys. We're not the best with hygiene. We just stick our head in the water and start drinking. So, but at the end of the day, those are the six things I look for. And I kid you not, I know everybody's going to say, oh man, that's simple. That's nothing profound. True. But I win doing this. I do that. I've been doing this for years. This is how I look for people. If I hear stuff like I was in a meeting the other day, and I'm going to use this as examples. I want y'all to hear the fact of awareness. I was in a meeting the other day, and we brought this guy in that we think could be a leader. He's 21, 22 years old. He's killing it at his store. He's not the most articulate. He works hard. We never have to worry about his store. One of our senior leaders is having a hard time, had a hard time last period. And somebody asked him, well, what week did you struggle? And the guy that was asked the question was one of the senior leaders. And he says, oh, I'm not sure. And then the guy that I'm talking about, the young leader, he said it was week 2. It was week 2 that you were really struggling. And that stopped me in my tracks. For this guy to pay attention to this other guy's numbers lets me know that he understands that we're a team and we're getting paid off of averages of each team member. And it also tells me that he is gunning for that guy. So his awareness is what blew me away. I stopped the meeting. I said, hey, did y'all hear that? Everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I said, did y'all hear what he said? I said, and then I repeated it. And then the guy that was standing up, presenting his numbers, said, so? I said, of course you're going to say so. You're the one, you're the one under the fire right now. I said, nobody else knew that. This guy is paying attention. So this guy really is on my list now. And I'm going to do what it takes to get him over the hurdles, because this is the kind of guy we need on my team to be a leader. And then at 7:22, 8 minutes. Boy, I can't believe this stuff goes by so fast. And what we need to give them. And I'm going to share this. And actually, my supervisor pointed me towards a book, and I bought the book. And it's 3 simple points. What you need to give them. That's these people that you pick that you said are going to be great leaders. What do you need to do to really retain them? And the first one is to get to know them. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've been in circles with nonprofits or in a group, and we do icebreakers, and you learn something completely different about somebody that you thought you already knew. So like today, we're a part of we're doing the FLC, Stegan FLC, and we asked 3 simple questions. The first question we asked was, where did you grow up? How many siblings do you have was the second question. And the part B of that question was, in what order are you? Are you the oldest? Are you the middle child? Are you third or fourth, whatever? And the fourth question was, what challenge have you had to overcome? What challenges or challenge have you had to overcome? So here it is. There's about 12 of us on this call. And everybody went around. And I'm telling you, there's people that I thought I knew that I learned a lot about on that call. So I love the fact that if you really want to retain people, and I know it sounds very simple, you got to get to know them. You got to get to know them. You got to ask questions, and you got to seek to understand them, right? The second point is you got to tell them why their job is important. Don't assume they know why their job is important. You got to tell them why their job is important. And if you do that, there's a better chance of them executing on a higher level. So I used to do this when I was doing some work for nonprofits. When I did work for nonprofits, we would do simple stuff, right? We're going to get together and wash cars to raise money. I used to hate doing that. I'm like, man, just from a time perspective, it's better if we all just give $20 than for us all to go buy some detergent, somebody bring the towels, let's get some buckets, let's call and remind all the different 7 or 8 people that we need to come wash these cars. Oh, yeah, we got to get the posters. Oh, we got to get some markers. Who's going to do that? By that time, we could have raised the money, because every time we did this, we only raised $300. I'm like, surely the 10 or 11, 12 of us can raise $300 just by giving it. So I stopped doing that stuff. But at first, I was just trying to run with what everybody was doing. So we washed cars. But at the end of the day, I used to try to make sure, hey, you understand why we need you to get those posters by this time, right? Because think about it. Just envision we're all there waiting. Cars are passing by. and there's nobody telling the cars passing by what we're there for. Man, your job is important. So point 2 is tell them why their job is important. Or if you're the person bringing the soap, hey, we need you now. You're very important. If we're all there and we got the signs and we got all the people there, but we don't have any soap to wash the cars, oh man, we're going to be in bad shape. People want to see bubbles. When you're washing cars, they want to see bubbles. So I would always tell them why their job is important. The third thing, which is very important too, and this is only 3 points to keep people, is to give them a way to assess themselves. How can they assess themselves? What have you done as a leader that they can look at without you having to tell them something, that they can assess their own performance? That's critical. How can they assess their own performance? Right? And to me, that's the one that I don't see a lot of times. You know, we don't have it where they can look to something or they can know how to judge themselves. You know, some restaurants, they do mystery shoppers, right? Some people do audits and inspections, and they put up scores and they let them know what a good score is. Other companies do employee opinion surveys. But whatever it is, if you're working for a company, maybe they got bottom lines and they do rankings or whatever it may be. But you have to be able to assess yourself. How am I doing without the feedback from the supervisor? It has to be systems in place where a person can assess themselves. So that's a huge one. So at the end of the day, we talked about why we pick who we pick. We said it's because we're looking for people who want to be there. We're looking for partners that are not only sharing the responsibility, but they'll share in the reward. 3, we're looking for people who have confidence in themselves and confidence also in my ability. We're also looking for people that trust the leader. Just because you have confidence that I can get it done don't mean you trust me. So do you trust me? The other thing we're looking for is a certain level of discipline, and you will know it when you see it. And the 6th point is that those people possess a level of awareness. They're paying attention to things that you would pay attention to, right? And I'll give this. We got a couple minutes. I'll give this example. I was talking to a guy yesterday, or was it the day before yesterday? No, yesterday. Name was Hamish. I was talking to this young man, and I drew this little chart. I drew a cross, and on the left side of the cross, I used this little format that Kiyosaki uses in one of his books. He said everybody in the workforce falls in 4 different categories. He says on the left side, the top, it could be an E, which is an employee. He says the second, right below the E, is an S, which is a self-employed person. That could be a babysitter. That can be a landscaper person. That can be a barbershop, but they got to work in the barbershop. And then on the right side, which he says, listen, you can be successful in any of these 4, but it's good to try to work to get on the right side. The right side on the top is a business owner. And the difference between a business owner and a self-employed person is the business owner don't have to be there. He could be gone a year. But the business person built that thing up, and they know how to look at that whole business from the paperwork to the external to the different roles. They know that business. And then the last one is an investor. So you just got to visualize this. I know we don't have a PowerPoint on this, but employee, self-employed, left column, business owner, investor. So I was telling the guy that, hey, to be successful as a leader in this business, you really need to think like a business owner. And I told him, I said, when I come to a building, I'm looking at the landscape, I'm looking at the sign, I'm looking at the windows, I'm looking at the concrete. Has it been washed? Has it been cleaned? I'm looking at where the cars are parked, how they're parked. Are they in position, or are they just crooked, and are people parked on the side and the front of the building where they shouldn't be? Are they in the parking spots? Are the lines on the parking in the driveway, are they lined? Is it orange? Is it a straight line? You look completely different. The guy that comes in as an employee comes in to clock in. They come in and get on the clock so they can start getting paid. They're not looking at trees. They're not looking at the structure of the building. They're not looking if so-and-so is dressed in the right uniform. It's just a different mentality. So that's what we're looking for. So, and then at 7:30, and I knew this would happen, to keep them, we need to get to know them. We need to tell them why their job is important. And then we need to give them a way to assess themselves. So hopefully, please put a 1 if you got anything out of it. A 7:30. I feel like I rushed through it a little bit. Next week, hopefully get out of my meeting earlier so I don't have to run in here like I did today. But please like and share. Please like and share. And you're always nice. I really appreciate it, Tamika. Appreciate it. I hope that you guys can use this and use that story. There's a bunch of stories out there, man, that are they're so teachable. You can use them in life. And I hope that we use this story in life, because I'm telling you, you use those 6 points when you start picking people and you're working in ministry, or you use those 6 points and you're an employer and you're looking for help. You know, it'll help you. All right, guys. You guys have a great one. It is 7:31, a little late. Appreciate you guys, and be intentional. This is the second week. This is how I worry about this up here sometimes. Be intentional, focus on growth, and elevate now. You guys have a good one.